Well, hey everybody, I hope you guys are having a great day. Today's video I'm going to talk about shadow and shading. Previously I showed you that at the very basic everything is made up of course shapes, and then bringing those shapes from the 2D world into the 3D world, they become what are known as forms. And one of the biggest things that helps a form to look three-dimensional is of course shading, which I mentioned in my other video. Now, one of the most important things when it comes to shadows is if you look at different objects, shadows cast differently on different objects. I mean, for example, a shadow on the face is not going to be the same as it is on a, let's say, a silver sphere, because the properties of the actual material that's being reflected on is going to change that. Real quickly, please take a look at this diagram. It's going to show you the different parts of a shadow. Obviously you have reflected edge, you have core shadow, and that's all great. It's great to know those terms, but at the end of the day, what's important is that you know the skill set involved to execute this and make something shaded realistic. So there are a couple different techniques that I like to use. Obviously, experiment, you find your own style. Everybody's going to have their own way of doing things. But I'm using a couple different pencils here to kind of show one of the good practices you can do, and that is to learn to do that gradation from dark to light. The better you get at that, obviously the better you're going to get at shading. And that's one of those things that, just like anything, it takes practice. You don't learn it overnight. But two of the pencils I'm using here, the one is just a normal number 2 pencil, and the other one is called an ebony pencil, which is just a really dark pencil. When you get a pencil set, they have different hardnesses and softnesses of the pencil that'll give you different effects, and that's just one of those things. If you're a newbie, you've never used a pencil, just take some time and learn the different pencils and learn the type of shading they're going to give you, and you'll master it in no time. And for my final example here, I want to show, I drew my thumb, and what I want to show here is that as a rookie, or even if I was doing a cartoon, it's all about a line. I would just draw a line out for everything. But when you start rendering something and you want it to look realistic, honestly, you want to render as few lines or no lines if possible, and do everything with light and shadow. The more you can do that, the closer things will become to looking real. Reason being that actual lines do not exist in the real world. I mean, yeah, you think they do, but I mean, like power lines and obviously things like that. But when it comes to, from an artistic eye, when you start rendering an object, hard lines translate on a piece of paper as cartoony or fake. That soft edge and that soft blend, even if it's a dark to a dark beside a light, when you have that contrast and you render that as an actual form as opposed to a line, it comes out as looking realistic, and I think the picture speaks for itself. Now obviously I didn't spend a ton of time rendering even the realistic thumb. I could have made that a lot more realistic. For the sake of this video, I did that in about 2 minutes. But and there again, that's also going to come into play, making sure you choose the right paper, learning your pencils, learning what does what, and as a personal rule, I tend to start very light and work my way to dark, or sometimes I'll start with all my core shadows in really dark areas and then kind of work my way out to the light. And there again, that's just you figuring out what works best for you. Well, hey guys, as always, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're learning something from it. Hope you'll be sure and hit that subscribe button. I'm going to be doing more videos, and as always, you guys have a great day.